In the quiet village of Umuilechi, surrounded by dense forests, red-earth parks, and hills, life was a cruel and relentless circle for Ukamaka and her mother, Norma. Ukamaka lived a life filled with hardship. She was a slender girl, barely 16, with weary eyes that carried the weight of suffering. She and her mother, Norma, were the outcasts of the village. They lived in a small crumbling hut at the edge of the community, where the air seemed heavy and colder than other parts of the village. The villagers whispered about Norma's family, calling them cursed. Some claimed that strange things always happened around them. Farms failed, animals disappeared, and people fell mysteriously ill. As a result, no one wanted to associate with them. The isolation made it nearly impossible for Norma and Okamaka to find work, forcing them to survive on scraps and wild fruits. Most days, Ukamaka could be seen trudging through the village barefoot, carrying heavy loads of firewood or water on her fragile frame. Despite her dire situation, her face showed hints of strength and determination. Deep down, she dreamt of a better life, far from the scornful eye of the villagers and the poverty that defined their existence. One sunny afternoon, Mrs. Ugodinma, a wealthy and elegant woman from the city, visited Umelechi to see her relatives. She was a compassionate woman who often helped those in need. As she walked along the dusty path, she spotted Ukamaka struggling to balance a massive bundle of firewood on her head. Her clothes were tattered, her body was covered in dust, and her eyes seemed to plead for rescue. Moved by the sight, Mrs. Ugodinma stopped her. "My dear, what's your name?" she asked gently. "Ukamaka," the girl replied softly, her voice barely audible. "Where are you taking this firewood?" Mrs. Ugodinma continued. "To the market, ma," Ukamaka said, avoiding eye contact. Mrs. Ugodinma felt a pang of sympathy. "Do you live around here? What about your parents?" "I live with my mother. We are just trying to survive," Ukamaka admitted, her voice tingled with sadness. Determined to help, Mrs. Ugodinma asked Ukamaka to take her to her home. When they arrived, she saw the horrible state of their hut: leaking roof, broken walls, and a single room that served as both their bedroom and kitchen. Norma, a frail woman with sharp, piercing eyes, welcomed Mrs. Ugodinma hesitantly. After hearing their story, Mrs. Ugodinma's heart broke. She decided to help. "I want to take Ukamaka back to the city with me," she told Norma. "She can help me take care of my children, and in return, I'll send money to you every month for your upkeep." Norma's face lit up with a mix of relief and hidden excitement. "Also, I will make sure that your daughter is enrolled in a good school, and I will train her to whatever level she wishes to go in her education." "God bless you, madam," she said, her tone filled with exaggerated gratitude. "We have prayed for a miracle, and you have answered our prayers." However, before finalizing her decision, Mrs. Ugodinma visited her relatives to inform them of her plans to take Ukamaka with her back to the city. "I have decided to take a young girl, Ukamaka, back to the city with me," she announced. "She and her mother are struggling terribly." Her relatives exchanged uneasy glance. One of them leaned closer and said, "Sister Ugodinma, are you sure about this? This family is different. People in this village avoid them for a reason." "What do you mean by different?" she asked, frowning. "There's something dark about them," another relative chimed in. "Bad things seem to follow them wherever they go. It's not wise to bring such people into your home." Mrs. Ugodinma paused, considering their words, but her kind heart refused to be swayed by gossip and superstition. "I understand your concerns," she said firmly, "but I cannot ignore their suffering. If we don't help those in need, who will?" Her relatives shook their heads, but they knew her well enough to realize she wouldn't change her mind. "Just be careful," they said to her. "Sometimes kindness can lead to trouble." Ignoring their warnings, Mrs. Ugodinma returned to Norma's hut the next day. "Pack your things, Ukamaka," she said, with a warm smile. "You are coming with me to the city." Ukamaka's heart leaped with joy. She had dreamed of leaving the village her entire life, and now the opportunity had come. She quickly gathered her few belongings: a threadbare wrapper, a pair of worn-out sandals, and a small bag of trinkets. As they left the village, Mrs. Ugodinma felt a sense of fulfillment, believing she was doing the right thing. But she didn't notice the sly smile on Norma's face as they walked away. "Take care, my daughter," Norma called out, waving her hand. Her voice carried an undertone of something unspoken, something dark. The journey to the city was filled with wonder for Ukamaka. She marveled at the smooth road, tall buildings, and endless cars. It was a world she had only heard about in stories, and now she was living it. Mrs. Ugodinma welcomed her into her grand home and introduced her to her two daughters, Chizaram and Kamsi. "This is Ukamaka," she told them. "She will be helping us from now on." The girls smiled politely, though they were shy around the new stranger. Ukamaka, on the other hand, couldn't hide her amazement. The house was massive, with sparkling floors, beautiful curtains, and furniture that looked like they belonged in a palace. "This is what I have always dreamed of," she thought to herself. Unknown to Mrs. Ugodinma, the decision to bring Ukamaka into her home would unravel a chain of events that would test her family's strength, faith, and unity. What seemed like an act of kindness was in fact the first step in a sinister plot carefully crafted by Ukamaka and her mother, Norma.